Baby, please, you've got to believe me.
Just empty words. I was standing at the window, staring out at the garden, thinking about the great times we had had in there. How often I had planned to spend long, lazy afternoons with my kids out there. So many hopes and dreams shattered. Richard was speaking. Why was he here? What did he want from me?
Baby.
I felt his touch on my arm and it made my skin crawl.
Don't touch me.
I felt a rage welling up inside me. Words from my father's letter swam before my eyes. I felt an anger that I had never felt before. A redness seemed to fill the room, and in the middle of it, Richard's face floated like a ghoul.
Your book is being adapted into a movie. Recently we had Half of a Yellow Sun adapted into a movie. That's a good thing, but we don't seem to have enough of that going on, do we?
Yes, I think there should be a lot of that going on. There's so many wonderful stories from African authors that I think could be adapted into films as well, because they do that a lot in the Western society. There's a lot of books that they make into a movie. Half of a Yellow Sun for me was a turning point when I watched it. I've never read Chimanda's book. I never ever came across it until the trailer came out, and my brother called me and said, "Oh, I've just seen a trailer for Half of a Yellow Sun," and she's quite similar to, the lady Chimanda that written the book. It's quite similar to what you're writing, and I was like, no, it can't be. I'm unique. I'm me. So I went on YouTube, watched the trailer, and saw what B. Bamidele did, and I thought, wow, this is really nice, but I never actually thought at that point when I saw it that my book would be made into a movie. So it's only when I went for the Back to Black, and it was an event held at the BAFTAs, an award-winning director, Freddie Krueger and Waka, he approached me because he read my book and he fell in love with it, and he thought, you know what, Ibitola, this is actually a good book to be made into a film. We need to sit down and talk. And from there we sat down, talked, and that's how the process started running from there.
So you read Virginia Andrews, you read Stephen King, you have not read any of Chimamanda Adichie's books. So which Nigerian writer do you enjoy reading?
Not read a lot. Who I've read, obviously, like I said, I grew up part of my life here. So at school we did read some literature by Achebe. Is it Achebe? Am I pronouncing it properly?
Chinua Achebe.
Chinua Achebe, yeah. So I like his stories as well, things such as Things Fall Apart. I love that book at school. Yeah, so I like the poetry as well. So I'll say definitely. But when it comes to Chimanda, because I guess maybe she's the popular icon at the moment when it comes to the literature world, I've never read her book, and since I found out about her, I'm so impressed. She's a treasure to the country, but I've been so busy to spend time to read the book, but I'm going to make sure I read it.
Okay, so how would you describe your style of writing?
When it comes to acceptance, I'll say when it comes to acceptance, especially part one, I wrote it in the form of a poem. And a lot of people notice that obviously it's written as a poem style. They don't see it written as a kind of a normal book. But the reason I've done it this way is not a lot of people read. Not a lot of people have an interest in reading. But I felt I had a story to tell for a lot of people to connect with, and I wanted them to connect with each and every word of the book. As I read a lot, and there's certain books that there's a lot of talking that goes on in the book, so you kind of skip it to get to the interesting part. But I feel every word I write down in acceptance is telling something, so that's why I've written it so simple that anybody can pick up the book and read it, just anybody. Yeah.
Finally, I love the way you've been promoting your book. One of the problems writers have in Nigeria is they get the book written, it's published, self-published usually, but the book never gets out there. Most people don't do print runs more than 500 or 1,000 copies. So, but you've got a unique way of pushing your book. I love your trailer. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. How did you get this idea?
We kind of think of unique ways to kind of push out, especially acceptance and me as a brand. and we've come up with different ideas based on other people's, how other people have marketed their own stuff, and a lot of research has gone into it. So that's how we've pushed it.
And that's pretty much the kind of work writers should put into.
I think they should put a lot of work into it and not just leave it to publicists. I sit down and research a lot. I guess maybe it's due to my background because I work in the clinical research field. So I do a lot of research when it comes to this because I want to be in the forefront. I want to know what's going on. I don't want somebody to kind of take it over for me because nobody can know your work, your baby, more than you. So, yeah, so that's it.
Ibitola, it's been great having you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Providing access to key decision and newsmakers.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Your Excellency, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Modelo.
Asking the questions you've always wanted to ask.
Don't get me into trouble with this one. It's a deep question with a very long answer.
Provoking, revealing responses and revealing the real person behind the public persona. See how the conversation evolves on air.
Don't forget, we've all come to inherit what is on ground. And if initiatives were not taken to change them, exigencies now are making it necessary for us to make those changes.
Watch View from the Top with Modele Sharafa Yusuf at this time only on Channels Television.
Last week, we showed you the first part of the review of Modern and Traditional Elites in the Politics of Lagos, a book written by Dr. Patrick Dele Cole. The book is a fascinating work that provides an account of the political development of Lagos, particularly during the pre-colonial era, leading up to the period of agitation for national independence. Its author was an ambassador of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to Brazil from 1987 to 1990. And the special advisor on international relations to President Olusegun Obasanjo from 1999 to 2001. He's also a former managing director of Daily Times Nigeria Limited and is today a board member of Guardian newspapers. Dr. Cole holds a PhD from King's College, Cambridge, UK. Joining Dr. Cole and I to review Modern and Traditional Elites in the Politics of Lagos was Yomi Fawahimi, a social commentator, trainer, real estate professional, and avid reader. Yomi's interest in Nigerian history and expertise in land matters helped to make our review session relevant. Please enjoy the concluding parts of the book review.